Hey guys, thanks for checking out this video. Today, I'm gonna give you an overview of what calisthenics is. I'm guessing you clicked on this video because you have like a little inkling about what it is. Well, we're gonna confirm that for you today. We are gonna cover key things to remember and the basic exercises you need to master in order to do something like this. Hopefully, I just put a video there of me doing something cool. So let's start with, what is calisthenics? Pretty great place to start, right? Calisthenics is body weight training. So let's be real. You're probably doing some body weight training, at least I hope you are. So calisthenics in essence is about controlling your entire body where it is in space. Why would you want to train calisthenics? Well, there's so many freaking reasons, but my favorite reason is obviously the full body control. I'm so functional. You can throw me into all different movements that are brand new and I'm gonna pick them up way faster than somebody who doesn't have control of their body. So say somebody who's been bodybuilding. The best part is it's so functional for your everyday life. So it's picking up the dog. It's when you're sitting on the ground, you can get off your easier. That's actually a really fun part, like being able to get up without using your hands. So basically calisthenics makes you more athletic. The other key benefits is that you have like a goal in mind all the time. You have something you're working towards. So you can go from while training at home, being like me and not being able to do a handstand, to being able to zombie press or pike press. So you can actually see this transition. You can see your movement changing, you can see your body changing because you have all these goals. And as soon as you get that handstand, all of a sudden a new door opens and you have a new goal. And you just simply don't have that with traditional weightlifting. Because once you learn how to bicep curl, you've mastered how to bicep curl. You can always add more weight, but can you really? You keep training calisthenics, you're gonna be able to do some insane things. It will always be able to build on itself, whereas bodybuilding doesn't really do that. Hey, wait. Have you clicked like and subscribe? Please do so that I can keep making these videos for you. Thank you. Okay, so another benefit, it's inexpensive. You can literally train anywhere you want and you can gain large muscles. You can have strength gains, all these sorts of gains at home, depending on your reps, sets, and your exercises that you're doing with calisthenics training. Now let's cover the different styles of calisthenics. They're super dynamic, super explosive. I'll insert a clip here of, what's his name? Daniels? I think Daniels, doing some crazy stuff here. I would call this more of a street workout. And then there's what I do, which is more static training. Good athletes would be able to do both. But when you're training at home, it's easy to learn how to handstand press. I shouldn't say easy, it's safe to learn. Is it safe to do some flips by yourself when you don't have mats or friends or spotters? Not really. So I find the static training is much more attainable. I know this video is gonna be long, but training calisthenics takes real effort. It's not something you easily stumble upon. So I'm trying to give you all the information you need to get started so you don't have to go find it from a bunch of different sources. So let's cover the key points you need to remember in a brief overview. So the first, quality over quantity. So I would rather you do 8 really perfect push-ups than 25 hit style, really quick push-ups. I want you to control your entire body through your movements. So next up is proper pelvic tilt. I see you guys at the gym. You're not doing it properly. If your back is curved, you are not maximizing. You are not creating the proper strength to control your body. I want your pelvis tilted and your core engaged when you're doing anything, even a shoulder press. I want you to use your abs. So if you're doing push-ups and you find your back is starting to curve, go on your knees, do it properly. The more times you do it improperly with that curved back, the easier it is to do that. So it's gonna be harder to train your body. What this means is that the more you are aware of your form and the more often you do it perfect, the easier it is for your body to get into that position. The whole idea is tilt your pelvis, engage your core. And this is an important one, we want full range of motion. We want to train your body to actually handle itself in its full range. So when you're doing push-ups, instead of doing push-ups like this, you actually want to do that and you want to let your scapula move. You want to go through your full range. So this is my full range, locked out. And then this is my end range. Instead of, you know? Because we want to train, if we ever want to do a planche, we have to have straight arm strength. We have to actually be able to control our body in our full ranges of motions, not the little short motions. I hope that makes sense. If you want the maximum gain of your calisthenics workout, do the full range. It's different than bodybuilding. We want our scaps to move. We want control. We got the quality over quantity. We got the pelvis tilt. We need some proper form. The next thing is you usually want your elbows in. Most of our exercises for calisthenics, we're gonna need our elbows in and tight. Okay, next up, you guys, I'm getting a little antsy, have to move a little bit, been filming for a little while now. We're gonna cover all the movements that the crazy calisthenics tricks stem from. Our pull-ups, our push-ups, our dips, our squats, our mobility, and our core. So if you wanna get started in calisthenics, you have to master those basics. So I'm gonna overlay some videos of me doing some of these workouts here so you can see the progressions, but basically you do quality reps, and when it gets too easy, you make it slightly harder. Does that make sense? So say you're repping out like 30 push-ups, perfect quality, well then your next step is to change your hand position. If you put your hands all the way down to your belly button and you push up from there, that's gonna be way harder than if you push up from here. So if you wanted to get your planche one day, you actually want to push up from your belly button all the way. Make sure you're doing the full range, so you're turning your shoulders. So that's an example of that. You can elevate your feet. Okay, so let's start with the start of our workout. So for me, I start with mobility training. I want to warm up all of my joints, but I'm not just doing dynamic. I'm not just swinging my arm uncontrollably. No, I'm doing it with control. I am increasing my end range, and mobility, if you believe it or not, when done right, is strength training. I like to warm up all my joints, all of them. I don't care if it's not leg day, I'm still gonna warm up my legs. So we start with our mobility. I will cover mobility in greater depth if you request it below.
Obtaining a new skill in calisthenics starts by breaking down the main movement into small little progressions. So where does it originate from? Is it a pushing movement? Is it a pulling movement? So once we've broken down the movement into all of its components, we can start training those components. Take this press, for example. You might look at this and think, oh, I'll never be able to do that. But you can. You just have to break it apart and work the skills individually. So we know here, one of the things was push-up. So let's start with mastering our push-ups. So you'll notice that I'm actually working on some other skills while I'm doing my push-up. So I'm actually working on my handstand as well because I have my legs in tight, my pelvis tilted, my core engaged, I have handstand fingers, and I have my elbows turned out. For my regular push-up, you can see I still have those handstand fingers. I'm leaning far forward as we talked about earlier. I have my core engaged. In this advanced push-up, I'm working on my handstand coordination as well. So I'm trying to stack my hips over my shoulders, take the weight off my feet, and work on the ability to press my whole body weight. This exercise can be done with your feet on the ground. It is still very challenging when your feet are on the ground, as it is harder to cheat that way. You really want to make your feet as light as possible, lean forward. This variation of a dip is by far the easiest to implement anywhere. You can be hiking, come across a bench, a rock. You can do it against your couch, your kitchen table, your chair. These are easy to do anywhere. Again, keep your elbows in tight. And you can change the elevation of your feet. So you can play with putting your feet up on a box. You can bend your knees. If this version is too hard, just bend your knees. Take some of the weight onto your feet instead. So next, we just have regular dips. This gym did not have a dip bar for some reason. So here I'm just demonstrating a regular dip. Legs squeezed together. We want to keep that all tight. Here we also have straight bar dips. I'm a big fan of these since they help with your scorpion handstands in the future, as well as the top portion of your muscle ups. And for your advanced version, here are some Russian dips. So I'm rocking backwards and forwards. I'm trying to keep contact with my hand the whole time. On to pull-ups, my favorite. So if you can't do a pull-up right now, how I taught myself was using the negative portion. What I would do is jump up above the bar and then lower myself as slow as possible. I really like negatives for training anything from handstand push-ups, scorpion push-ups, to dips, anything. Just jump up and lower yourself down and try and control that downward motion and move as slowly as possible. So here's some options for you as you progress through calisthenics. First up, we have Australian pull-ups. So if you stand up more, it's going to be easier. If you become more parallel with the ground, it will be harder. Play with your different grips and widths here. As you can see, I'm doing the full range of motion. I was letting my scapular move. Here we have regular pull-ups. So we're same thing as before. We're squeezing our legs together. We're training that full body because we need that whole squeeze in our handstands. We're pulling up all the way up to the top and all the way down to the bottom. We actually let our scaps move. I like to do little pauses at the top and just make sure I'm training the full range. Again, play with your hand positioning. In this, try and make it really close together, really far apart. Always change it up. So as soon as you've done enough negatives and you can do a couple pull-ups, now try and always do that amount of pull-ups at minimum. Say you can do 3 pull-ups. Okay, now forever you're gonna do at least 3 pull-ups. And then you can play with the time under tension. So you can do holds at the tops, holds in the middle. You can do 1 pull-up in 1 minute. You can rep out, which means to do a lot of it. You can try underhand grip. There's all different ways that you can mix it up. Really be creative so that these movements actually stick in your brain. Last exercise we'll cover today is squats. If you don't know how to do a proper squat, I highly recommend watching a bunch of YouTube videos on it. We start with our body weight squats and we master that. We change our feet positioning so we have them close together, farther away. And we work on things like our pistol squats, our dragon squats, shrimp squats, sissy squats. There's a bunch of different body weight squats you can do. I find training things like pistol squats and step-ups really benefit my life because it helps me when hiking. I'm able to put my foot up on something and press off of that to get up higher without having to use my hands. So I highly recommend incorporating step-ups or pistol squats into your regular routine. One thing that we often forget when we're training is that when we need to progress in a movement, we have to change it. So if we become very comfortable in a movement, say you can comfortably do 10 pull-ups, but you've only tried to do them one way, well, you can't really progress past that. You have to add more resistance, more load, more stress onto your pull-ups, more quantity, more tension. You have to change it all the time if you want to develop more strength. So as soon as you become comfortable in a movement, even if it's a mobility movement, you have to make it harder in order to progress.
I hope this video has given you an overview of calisthenics and shown you that you can do it. You master the basics, okay? And then you move on from there. We can talk about like how often you should be training, what you should be training, and break down each exercise in detail in a future video. If there's a specific video you want, please comment below, okay? Comment. Again, my name is Summer. Follow me on Instagram if you want more frequent posts. Summer Fun Fitness. I post fun fitness or functional fitness. Thanks for watching. Bye. I'm gonna go train.